Alright, well, totally off subject of the video, but I just got done blowing snow, and not with a snow blower, with a backpack blower. I don't have a snow blower. But there wasn't a bunch. I just want to stay ahead of it because at some point in time, I'm probably going to have to take off and go do snow. But the subject at hand, amongst all this junk here on my workbench, Corey will be here in just a little bit as well. So this weird little piece here is off of a Vermeer, I think it's a 400 or 450. Hang on, let's get a couple more lights on. Let's walk in here. La-di-da. Ooh, yeah, it's nice and cold away from the heater. I know you're in the dark, can't see nothing. Now you can. There you go. Okay, so this little part is off of a Vermeer mini skid. This thing with another little piece on it that goes in here. Corey might be here and I didn't unlock the door. Let's go unlock the door real quick. You know. And then we have some other stuff we're gonna work on too. But sounds like a freight train going down the road. I don't know what that was. Wasn't Corey. All right. Okay. Now let's get back to the subject. Since I'm walking back and forth, that's how it goes. Okay, so if you have a Vermeer mini skid, it's a little 400 or 450. This is your track control. This is your drive control. It bolts in there like, it's actually upside down. It bolts in there like this in the machine. So we're standing on the machine, it bolts in like this. It has a shoulder bolt that goes through here with another piece that goes down in it, and it's also wallered out. Well, he took it, he's gonna get something that we can make an insert with. Let's move over here. I think it's warmer outside than it is in my shop. This thing works really good. I do have heaters hung, but you see I have no plumbing yet, and I have to hang one more heater, I don't know, somewhere in that general vicinity. Once I get that done, it'd be really nice, but it'll probably be springtime. Anyways, so it's got another piece that goes down in there, and then there's your stick, and you move it around. Well, he took it to get an insert and all that, but you try to tighten this, and it spins this nut. So then, and this is threaded on both sides, so it's like a piece of all thread. We're thinking, we don't know what's going on in there. So you see this, see how there's a lot of play in that? Well, that transfers into the machine. Let me get you guys sitting somewhere, maybe like that, and then I can use both hands and show you. So there's an incredible amount of play. See all that play? So between that play and then the piece that goes down into here, it's like egg shaped, it's wallered out. So he got him a solid pin and a bronze bushing to put in it. He's bringing it over right now. But when you try to tighten this nut, this will spin. So then you put a wrench on both and you can spin them both. And then this piece has a flat on it, and you try to hold it while you're tightening it, nothing tightens up. So we're not quite sure what's going on. I think one of the nuts are stripped. It's probably this jam nut in here. Well, so I was going to use my nut breaker on it. I've got a nut breaker, and I was just going to break this nut on both sides and then get it pulled off. Well, I can't find my nut breaker, and instead of driving all the way out to the tool shop, I'm just going to use my cutoff wheel. I got a cutoff wheel here. Let's see what we can do here. probably into the threads. It's not real hard to talk me into working in front of the heater right now. Kept wanting to spin. Okay, so the rest of the nut came off. I was all the way through the bolt. Let's see what we got here. Be a little tender. Don't know what we're taking apart here. Don't know, if there's plastic or something in there. It doesn't look like pocketed in, or if there's just a rubber washer right there. I could go in between there, but I don't want to ruin that rubber washer. You can't get parts for this. If you're watching this video because you have to repair this, you have to buy that whole assembly for about $1,000 to $1,200. I'm trying to get around that. Still can't tell. Can't tell if that's pocketed down in. I don't think so. I'm gonna get a wrench. We'll take a wrench and try to back that off. Give me a few minutes. Let me get it apart. I'll throw it in a vise. I don't want to bounce the camera around. Let me get it apart and then I'll come back and show you what I found. Okay, so I cut the nut off. I used an air hammer. Tried to drive that through. It's not driving through. It doesn't look like it's machined, but when you spin this, it does spin all together. I was spinning it. That was on the floor and stuff. So I put an impact on here and tried to like zing it off. And you know what I'm talking about if you work on stuff. There's no zinging. I mean, here, watch. This isn't moving. It's not zinging. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this cutoff wheel and I'm gonna cut half that nut off. And then at least I can get this off and see what the heck we got going on here. All right, stick around for the disaster. I'll do it right here for you. Maybe. I might want to put this in a vise, but... Alright, there went the nut. So we should be able to get this piece off now. Should be able to, is the key word. There went the washer. See what's going on there? I think you guys can see. Sorry, I need to get my, I keep saying that, I need to get my welding table done so I can use it as a workbench as well. Trying not to tear anything up. I just don't understand what's going on here. What's holding this thing? Looks like maybe there's a shoulder on this piece that goes in. All right, hang on, I'm gonna go throw it in the vise. Okay, so the bad thing is this might be where we have to make a trip to David's shop. You got a washer and you have this, it's got a recess in it. This was like that. It was on here. And then you have this piece. Well, maybe not. It looks like a piece of all thread. There's our strip threads that we had. But actually that has an insert on it. Hang on. Alright. It was just a piece of all thread. Here's you a spacer, I'd assume, so you don't tighten it too far. So now all I have to do is get that off. See, it's loose. But, well, I say that's a spacer. That might be a machine part. But what we could do is we can get a spacer if that is a machine part. So what they had was a threaded piece on the top of this and a threaded piece down below, and that machined stop in it. So the machined stop goes inside here, okay, which that obviously has some wear on it because there's some of your play, and you can't like tighten this up like crazy tight because then it won't move. But then you have your washer, and then you have your other machine piece that goes on top of that, and then that sets your compression with the thickness of that. I would imagine in our play that we had was probably play in this shaft and or play inside this hole. So what I'm going to have to do is we need to get that yoke piece out of there. I'm going to go ahead and grab a pair of calipers and try to measure how long that is, because we need that length to put back in there. And what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to have to get a bolt, because you can't get any of these pieces. So we're going to get a bolt to replace that and a sleeve to go inside of this piece. And then we ought to be able to set our preload with the bolt. We'll put a nylock nut on it and it ought to be good. Not a great design for having to replace it, but that's why they charge you $1,000 for this and the other yoke piece that goes inside there. That's incredibly expensive for what this is. Anyways, and when you put it back together, make sure your threaded part goes in towards the bracket like that. There's one that's threaded and a hole that's not. Well, the other piece has a bolt with a shoulder on it that goes in there, and that's what that other piece rides on. We'll show you that here in a little bit when Corey gets here. But anyways, I need to try to get this piece out. And actually I might be able to just maybe work the threads out. So let me get that piece out, and then I have to wait for Corey to get here. He's got the other piece to fix. So we'll be back. Okay, well, another update, sorry. So this is the piece that went into here. It's threaded. That's why I couldn't drive it out. So I'm gonna have to clean up the threads in here. We'll see what size threads they are, and then we'll have to take that into account. We'll get a bolt that we can run through there and run through the threads and bolt in, and then we'll put that nut in there. That's just a jam nut so it doesn't come loose. But here's where those threads were stripped. That's why you couldn't tighten the nut in there. And then same thing over here. This is where this piece went into there, and it was all stripped. Somebody's been in this before trying to tighten that up, and they couldn't, and they probably couldn't figure out how to take it apart, because obviously I had to cut everything apart. But this is not a sleeve, this is a machine part. So what we'll do is we'll just get a sleeve that's this size, because obviously this is worn anyways, and we can't buy the part. So we'll get a sleeve that that maybe fits inside of this better, you know, because that's our wear. If I can get this back in there. You know, I knurled it up a little bit from taking it in and out, but there's some of our play. So hopefully we can just get a sleeve, you know, something that'll go over a bolt, and we'll get it back together. So anyways, I guess if you're intrigued in this, it almost looks like I think this was threaded at one point in time also, and threaded on. So how did all this go? This goes into here, this goes through there, so then this probably screwed onto the outside, and that's how you set your preload. And then, well, obviously this has to be screwed on first, and it would go like this. And then you probably set your preload of how much play you have with this washer in between it, set your preload, and then the jam nut on the outside holds it all together. Well, we are going to take a bolt, run the bolt through here because it's threaded, so we'll run a bolt through there. It's probably metric, but we'll see. We may have to get a piece of all thread for it, but or I guess we could drill the threads out, but I'd kind of like to keep everything as factory as possible, so because they've got all the engineering in it. So we'll have to get a bolt that'll thread through, go through there, sleeve it to go through here, and then we won't have to jam nut this side anymore. It'll be a bolt. We can tighten it down, and then we'll run it through here. Obviously we don't have a lot of threads left in there, so we'll just set our preload with our lock nut on the outside. So Corey's almost here, he said. I'm gonna show him what kind of destruction that I did for him, and we'll get his piece that he's bringing, and we'll see if we can drill it. We might have to take some of the stuff to David's and use the mill, but I think his will be able to drill it with the drill press depending on what size the insert is, and then we'll have to go get stuff to fix this. But anyways, hang out. Alright, so this is what we ended up with. Here's our pieces here. We got all the stuff taken apart there. This is the stick. And it ended up, we drilled this and it was really hard, and ended up finding out that it was an insert. So we've got a bronze bushing that's the same size as that. And then we have this bolt here, goes through that. And that closes up our tolerances there. So we just need to make it to where this is that wide, which is pretty easy to do. I'm going to get this drove in there, or pressed in there, and then we'll get the rest of this put together. And then we got a couple of nuts to choose from. Ended up buying this. It's an axle bolt, or I think it's a leaf spring bolt. They
call it an axle bolt.
Yeah, it was called an axle bolt, but we're going to use this to go in through here. Didn't check to make sure that fit, but that's going to go through here, so it'll be like so. And then this piece has a shoulder in it there. That'll kind of sit here, and this washer goes here. And then this piece, might be able to clean that up with a tap and screw this back on, but this ought to fit on there. We might have to put another washer in there to get some tolerances. And then we have a choice of nuts to put on the end, either a thin jam nut, nylock nut, or a all metal lock nut, depending on how much room we have here. So anyways, let me get this pushed into there, and we'll get that blended off and see where we go.
Or something?
No, I just thought this would be quicker. Instead of trying to set that to the height or whatever,
yeah,
I could just throw it in here. And yeah, I need an arbor press is what I need. That would be nice. looks like it's going in square. It was kind of tight doing that, but might have to put it in the press. I mean, obviously this isn't the proper tool to use. I don't know. That went pretty good. Yeah. No, that'll work. One time I wish I had my vise clamp down. Most time I take it and I like use it on the floor or whatever, so I don't typically have it clamped down somewhere. I need to get my welding table done, so then when I'm doing something like this, I can just starting to get snug. I know we've got more to go than that, don't we? Oh no, it's pretty close. I mean, it's not there yet, but closer than what I thought it was. That's probably it. Oh yeah. Okay. Blend that off and good to go. Yeah, I mean, at least I'm quick at setup now, or quicker, I guess. Quick and easy. That's fun. I went ahead and bought a bunch of them. Alright, there's that piece. Countersink it. Alright. Rapid tap. Yeah, I like these little tap collet things.
Seems like you're off towards the outside wall or something.
It felt like it was grabbing. That's why I just went with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like it was chasing whatever threads were there.
Yeah. That looks better this way.
Huh?
That looks better this way. I don't know if you're grabbing anything, but.
I mean, it should have made pretty good threads because I think that one side of it, the factory one, it looked like that bolt was smaller. So, all right, let's go check the threads. All right, Don't do this at home. This is our ghetto fabulous lathe. Yeah, you get a fabulous right there. Like, seems like that was pretty legit. Oh my gosh, it's messed up.
It gets it done.
I don't know. Oh, there it went.
I mean, this ought to be like 1,000 times better than it was.
Yeah. Well, at least it's a decent repair. It's not like you're shortcutting. You're just not buying the crazy expensive factory repair piece. We're trying to save Corey like 1,100 bucks, 1,400 bucks or something ridiculous for this piece. I mean, I think we just need to tighten it up. I mean, we ought to have, oh yeah, we could pull that shoulder down in there. All right, let me go get an Allen wrench and we're gonna tighten this up. And then we'll put our lock nut on it and that piece will be done. Hang on. Okay, we're putting together this assembly. Open hole out, meaning the threads are on the inside. And then we're gonna try to, let's go ahead and tighten this up some. Set our preload here, or I guess that's what you'd call it.
Yep.
And it's a little loose. Oh, propane tank's giving up the ghost.
Better hurry up. You get cold in here.
We're gonna freeze to death. I mean, I think that's pretty good in that realm. We gotta tighten that jam nut up, otherwise it's just gonna keep taking it loose before we check it. I mean, that's overly snug, but it's got that cold anti-seize in it, and also I don't have the leverage of this.
Yeah, I think those spring tensions there are supposed to straighten it back out. Otherwise, it's going to creep on.
Let's see what this feels like. It's probably a little snug.
Really?
You want to hold that down there? Somebody calling me, telling me the end of the world is here because it's snowing. Let's take this wrench, make sure we're not going any further than what we need to go. What do you think? I mean, I think that's good.
I don't think so. Yep.
All right, so there's your repair on that. We put some anti-seize in there, so that's probably going to loosen up a little bit, but there's little to no play. I mean, that feels good. And we've got our jam nut here. This is our, what I'm going to call a preload nut. That kind of preloads our deal. Corey said don't worry about welding that in there. So we'll see what happens there. And then he decided to put some shims in between your stick. I don't know, you probably can't see. Now you can probably see. So he decided to put some shims in between here because there is a lot of play, and I fully agree with that. So let's see if we can get that in there. Be nice if I had like a welding table put together that, you know, we could put stuff on. Well, since it only rang like a half a time, I bet you that was a scam likely, and they were trying to tell me that my truck warranty was over. That almost put the entire thing in by hand. Look at that. Little to no play side to side. Little bit of play like that. I mean, that's way better. Way better. Well, there's your track control valve rebuild. What is that thing? It's a S450TX?
Yeah, 450 or 400TX.
Yeah, it's either a 400 or a 450TX on a Vermeer. But that didn't take us, I mean, we were figuring it out. If you watch this video, maybe it'll help you a little bit. But now it's got a bronze bushing in there instead of a steel. I don't know. You could get a steel bushing too. We just couldn't find one at our local hardware store. But, you know, the preloads set on that. It's way better. That ought to be a pretty good repair for the machine. He's just fixing it to sell it. So, but I feel good about doing a repair like that. That we're not screwing somebody, basically, not trying to band-aid it. But we're going to tighten this up while we got it out, and then he can go back and put the thing in. So, all right, well, hopefully it helps you guys. Thanks for watching.